Welcome to a very special episode of You Don't Know Flack. This is part one of two of our vacation series. So we are on vacation. We are somewhere, where are we right now?
We're between Spain and the Azores Islands and the Atlantic Ocean. So about getting close to a third of the way back from Europe to the States.
Towards the end of this, I'll pick up the camera and just kind of walk around and show you. But basically what you can see is water on the horizon all the way around. So I want to break this up into two parts. So the first part, this episode, is going to be essentially what got us, I want to end with us boarding this cruise ship.
Okay.
So I want to talk about everything that, starting with why did we take this vacation? So let's go ahead and start with that actually. So let's talk about what happened on the previous cruise, which led us to start off this vacation.
Okay, so Rob and I cruised by ourselves for the first time on our last cruise, and it was just a trip through the Gulf of Mexico.
Without the kids.
Without the kids, yeah.
There were thousands of people on the boat.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, without friends, without kids, without family, whatever, right? So we had a little budget for gambling in the casino every day. And on the first day, we won like a chunk of money, like $1,000. And so we ended up spending all that $1,000 back in the casino over the course of a week, right?
Give it back. That's how it works.
Yeah. By the time we get home, we have postcards in the mailbox inviting us to all kinds of free cruises and stuff as gamblers, like high roller gamblers or whatever.
Right. So they have misidentified us as high rollers. I mean, we took like $100. We bet it in the casino. We got $1,000. We just put their $1,000 right back into the machine. So we didn't really, we had a net loss of $0, but to them, we went to the casino and spent $1,000.
Right.
So based off of that, they're like, hey, high rollers, we'd love to have you on another cruise.
Right.
We'll even offer you some perks as long as it's in the casino.
Right. So the deal that we got was a free cruise. There was only one offering from Barcelona to Miami, 14 days. And the reason why, so this ship is the Carnival Spirit, and it normally doesn't take the Barcelona or European route, but it was in dry dock somewhere in Europe for 45 days before this, so it needs to reposition back to the States to do its regular run, right?
Yeah.
So
for them, this is like a mandatory. They have to get the ship from point A to point B, and then they sold tickets for people to ride on.
Right. I mean, it's a regular cruise, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, they offer us a free room and $400 credit for the casino and free drinks while we're in the casino, right? So we say, sure. It's an interior room, and I immediately say, no, I'm not spending 14 days in an interior room with anybody. Because the interior room is basically the size of a king-size bed with no wall space or anything, no desk, no nothing. And that would be bloody misery for anyone by themselves even. So I upgraded.
Yeah, and we're going to get into a lot of this on part two when we start talking about the cruise.
Oh, okay.
But, so essentially what happened was we got offered a free cruise from Barcelona, Spain to Miami. And so what Susan said is, so the first part of this was, hey, we have to get to Barcelona to take this cruise. And then Susan said it's expensive to fly to Barcelona, but it's cheaper if we fly to London. And so then it became, hey, if we flew to London, boy, we could just take this, and we stayed there a couple days. We could take this train and go to Paris and stay there a couple days because that's in between London and Barcelona, and then we could take a train and go to Barcelona.
Right. I love Europe, and Rob's never been, and so I figured if we're coming all the way over here, we might as well let him see Europe because this might be your only time.
It might be. So
right,
we'll turn it into an entire an adventure, like we do, as we do.
Right. And so I am a planner by nature. I'm a project manager, and I have planned out a super detailed itinerary that basically packs something into every minute of your trip until we got on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first thing was we're both bigger people, and I've flown many times across the sea in economy, and it's bloody miserable. So we decided to go with the lay down seats.
So I'm going to back you up. So I said the best case scenario would be because I don't enjoy flying. I don't like to fly. And so Susan said, "Hey, here's the deal. I'll get us the best seats possible. I'm not first class because
business class.
Yeah, business class.
Yeah.
First class is just exorbitant, like tens of thousands of dollars. But it would be a flight, 2 flights. So the first flight was to was it Charleston?
Charlotte.
It was Charlotte, North Carolina.
I think.
And so right off the bat, you know you're not allowed to take liquids on an airplane, but so Susan knows all these travel tricks, and one trick is that you take an empty cup or empty bottle through the TSA checkpoint, and then once you're on the other side, then you fill it up and you have water for your trip. And so I had I don't know what you call it, like a travel mug from Buc-ee's.
Yeah, like a Buc-ee's thermos type
So
cup,
we filled it with water and put the lid on, put it in my laptop bag, and it turns out that mug leaks. You put it on the side. So now the good news was, because we had flown business class, and I've never actually seen one of these, we got access to the Admirals Club for like 3 hours, at which point when I opened up my backpack, water poured out of it. So
not good.
the first thing we did was spend probably an hour emptying out my bag, drying off the bag, drying off all my stuff. Nothing got damaged. I mean, I had a spiral notebook that got wet, but I was just going to write notes in it.
But also in your bag, you had 900 charging cables that you had to pull out all over the Admirals Club. And you said that you look like Clark Griswold.
We did look like because everywhere there is somewhat, I won't say classy, but it's business class.
Frequent travelers.
Yeah, travelers who are there, and people that are just being quiet, working on their laptops or iPads or whatever, and then here we are just dumping out pile after pile of cables and wires and spreading everything out. But
I'm sure it was some level of entertainment for people who travel all the time and see the same old crap all the time. Yeah.
So no harm, no foul on that. We got that. But that was just a regular flight, just a regular plane, from Oklahoma City.
Yeah, it was a regional jet. Yeah.
Right. Then we board the plane to go from there to London, which is overnight. And Susan had tried explaining these seats to me, and I didn't quite get it. She kept saying it's like a pod, and you could lay down, and there's a divider. But I mean, once you get it, so it's a 777, right?
Yep, the big boys.
And it was almost felt like a cubicle. A work cubicle. Like you go in and of course they're all like, probably for maximizing space or something. So you're sitting like you're not facing forward or backward. We're kind of at like a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, you're like at a herringbone pattern so that they can cram more in.
Yeah.
Really nice and comfortable.
Giant flat screen TV. I mean, giant for being on an airplane. The 12-inch TV, something like that. Everything's touch controls. And there's like the little table that folds out of the armrest, and it scoots forward and back, so if you're a bigger guy, you have room. Unfortunately, I had a problem because I didn't get the first time I used it worked great, but then I had laid my seat down, and then when I put my seat back up, I couldn't get it all the way back to where it was, and then when I put the table down, it was like, oh, pinned me in, and it's a worst case scenario for me because then the flight attendant is like, oh, you having a problem with your table? It worked last time. What happened? And I'm like, hey, it's fine. I'll figure it out.
Leave me alone. Yeah.
And then he calls the other flight attendant, and they're like, this guy's having trouble with this table. And now it's like all the people are gathered, and I'm like I will just hold this hamburger in my hand.
Right.
Please go away.
Please go away. Yeah. But they do. I mean, if you've never flown like first class internationally or whatever, you get to pre-order your meals. And
this is an overnight flight. Like we got on at 9 p.m. or something?
Yep, flew all night. It's kind of typical, heading over to Europe. You're supposed to sleep on the plane on the way there.
They turned the lights out, and they changed the lights artificially in the plane to simulate it's dark blue, and then it goes off, and then in the morning it's kind of orange. It's supposed to wake you up. These seats go from the most uncomfortable straight up and down seat to completely flat, like a bed, and there are spots in between.
Yeah, spots in between that are like ergonomic and anti-gravity and all this, right? So it's really nice. I've taken those seats a few times on the way to Germany and stuff like that, and it makes the trip like a totally different experience. And I think, even Rob, the anti-flyer, said he would do it again.
I mean, yeah, but I mean the thing is obviously cost, right?
Yeah.
But if you could do
money.
that all the time, if they could do that on every flight, you get on and they feed you, and also because you're business class, free drink. So I was like, when the lady went up one side, I was like, I'll take a rum and Coke. And when the guy came down the other side, I go, hey, I'll take a rum and Coke. So, I mean, I had 2 rum and Cokes, 1 Xanax, no, 2 Xanax, maybe. I don't know.
That explains a lot.
I don't know, but I was ready to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So, this is the one thing I'll say about the 777. I mean, I've flown my share of flights. You've flown more than me, and you know when you take off, there's that moment where you take off and you can feel like there's a little bit of I mean, you're gaining speed, gaining speed, and then you feel it, the nose lift up. That 777, that thing's got power. That was like, it reminded me of like when I had my old Mustang or my old Firebird, where you'd push the gas pedal down and it'd push you back, and then there's more. You're not like my car now, like you floor it and there's no more.
Right.
There's no power. That thing just, like, you felt the power.
It's a big old mamma jamma.
So,
yeah.
So we flew over, and Susan said that I might experience jet lag. And I said, jet lag is a made-up thing that doesn't affect real people. And
turns out you have a human body with a circadian rhythm, and you do. I have all these tricks, like you're supposed to sleep on the way over there. You're supposed to eat a banana when you get there. You're supposed to stay awake until bedtime, even if you have to take like a very short nap. Go to bed at close to a regular bedtime, and then start your day, and you'll be better. The way over for us is a lot easier than the way home, by the way.
You know?
Yeah, it'll be different because we're cruising over time zone by time zone. But normally when you fly back to the west...
Oh, if you were to fly. Yeah, see.
They say that you have jet lag for 1 day for every hour of time zone change. Yeah, so anyway, eat a banana.
So they wake you up, and we're looking at our clocks, and it's 2:30 or 3 in the morning, and we're like, what are we doing? You know?
Yeah.
So we kind of stumbled, and...
Oh, the other trick, just to share with you, sunlight on your armpits and the backs of your knees and your elbow pits will help you reset your circadian rhythm.
Well, that explains why you walk around showing everybody your armpits. So,
well, I'm half gorilla.
So we get out of the airport, and this is my first. I'm so excited because I've never been out of the. I mean, I've been out of the country.
Canada, Mexico,
on cruise stops, right? But this is the first time over, right?
Yeah.
And so we go to the airport, and all you can hear are British accents, which I love. Everybody's like, "Hey, good night, mate." Well, that's Australian. There's also an Australian guy. But
Rob's accent impersonations are the funniest thing.
But you know, they're all like, "Hey," they're like,
really?
"Come on, but here's the thing.
Like, good morning.
People are walking by, like people that work at the airport, you know, and we're from Oklahoma. So every person that looks by, I go, "Hey, how are you?" And then they just go. They don't even look. They won't bring care. Nothing.
They're travelers. They don't want to talk to anybody.
Right.
They think you're crazy cuckoo nut.
Right. So I mean, they're used to be. So anyway, typical airport stuff. They tell us to go to this luggage thing. We go there, and then we're like, "Oh, by the way, we're at number 6, and you're supposed to be at number 19 or something." So we go all the way back there, and we're so late that our luggage has already been pulled off and is sitting there waiting for us. So not a problem. Then we get out to the taxis. Describe what the taxi, and this is like every taxi.
Yeah, so taxis in the UK are a big vehicle. They kind of look like when in the States, whenever they tried to mimic the old-timey PT
like an
cruisers.
Old Studebaker, yeah.
Yeah, they tried to mimic the PT cruisers, but they have big doors in the back seats, and then there's one large back seat and a big open area. No trunk or boot, as they call in the UK, right?
The doors are suicide doors.
Yeah, they're suicide doors.
So they open the wrong way, and then it's like the driver's in the front. And imagine if it were a minivan. You got the people in the front row, no middle row, and we sit in the back row. And the idea is you throw your luggage in the middle part.
Right. So, so it's just kind of like all this big open space, no boot, no trunk, right?
And every time we took a taxi, it was the exact same model.
Yep. Everywhere in the UK, they're all the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we took that to. Did we go straight to the hotel?
We went straight to the hotel, which was on the Thames River.
Describe this room.
So at the south end of the Westminster Bridge. And if you're not familiar with the UK, the Westminster Bridge on the north side has Big Ben, the big clock, and then Westminster Abbey and Parliament. So those are all like some really famous places. On the south side is the Waterloo train station and also the London Eye, which a lot of people, so those are pictures and scenes that you see a lot from England. So our room, I booked a balcony suite that overlooks the Thames River and the London Eye's on the right-hand side, and then you can see Big Ben out the other side.
Literally,
Yeah.
outside our room, there's a balcony, and you walk out on the balcony, and right there's Big Ben, which I did think it was a prestigious kind of room to face Big Ben.
Yeah, you pay for
and
that.
then later, everywhere we went in the UK or in Europe or London, I guess. Sorry, we saw Big Ben. Like, it was impossible not to see Big
Right.
Ben. I
Believe
think
me,
everything
you pay
was-
for that river view and the London Eye view
yeah.
and all that stuff,
But-
and you have to book it way far in advance.
But literally,
Yeah.
like on our balcony, there was a little walkway, and then the river, and then Big Ben, and then the London Eye, which we'll talk about in a minute, which is a gigantic Ferris wheel type thing. By the way, it's very windy back here, so the mics should be okay, but menus are flying around the Serenity Deck.
The mic should be okay. The bar's behind us, the Serenity area bar too. So anyway, and the sun's finally coming out.
So we go to the room.
And then I have it booked for us to go to the town of Richmond, which is between
Yes.
London and the airport. And so we hopped in an Uber.
There's a reason we're going there.
Right. And it's because if you're familiar with the TV show called Ted Lasso was filmed in the town of Richmond. And there's a famous bar there in the TV series. It's called Maze. In real life, it's called the Pirates. What is it?
I don't know.
Anyway, in real life, it's a different name, right? And it's a real restaurant.
It's just like the Cheers bar, right?
Yeah,
like
just
on
like the
TV
Cheers
it's
bar.
Cheers, but in real life it was the Bull and Finch or something like that.
Yeah,
So-
it's an old pirate.
But it's a real pub.
Yeah,
you
a real
know.
pub. And outside, it really is all of the stuff that you see in Ted Lasso, like the little red telephone booth.
The
and
field,
the
where the kids are out there
field,
practicing soccer,
the
playing
little
soccer.
alley, and all the
All of
little
it.
stores in this quaint little alley have little Ted Lasso branded merchandise, including the pink box with the biscuits that he brings for the boss.
Yeah.
So we walked around there for a little bit.
If you like Ted Lasso, it's like a cool little place
it's
to
like
go.
Mecca.
Yeah, and then plus going to the pub, it was kind of divided into two groups. It's like half the people are visitors who are like, oh, this is the Ted Lasso, and then the other half is just like local dudes that are there for a beer, having a pint and some fish and chips, which is, did I have the fish and chips
You
there?
did have fish
I
and
did
chips
have fish
there,
and chips
yeah.
there. So,
Yeah.
I don't know that much about UK food and lingo and stuff like that, but I know if you come here, you have to have fish and chips, and so I'm gonna say something that's probably a hot take. I didn't find the fish and chips to be any different than any other. I mean, we wouldn't call it fish and chips. Maybe, I guess we would.
call it Long John Silver's number 3.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's better than Long John Silver's, but I mean, any restaurant that you go to where you get fish with fries on the side, they would call it fish and chips or whatever. I thought it was exactly the same. Like, there wasn't anything. There was one difference though.
The eyeballs.
The eyeballs that were in the fish, is that she said, "Would you like the brown sauce?" And I was like, first of all, for all the kooky names that Europeans have for stuff, can you not come up with something better than brown sauce?
Well, it's the OG sauce, right?
Like mayonnaise is not the white sauce.
Ew.
Ketchup is not the red sauce. You know what I mean? Like, they have names. So why is it just a brown sauce?
Brown sauce is basically brown gravy that they package and sell as brown sauce. Heinz brown sauce,
So
right?
Anyway,
It's
brown
good. I
sauce.
had the little.
Also, whenever she brought me, because here's the thing, I want to have it authentic, right? So I was like, she was like, "You want any ketchup, love?" Ketchup, darling. And I was like, she's like, "Good day, mate."
Good morning.
Good morning. I was like, "Well, how would you have it here?" And she goes,
Ketchup.
"I just like ketchup."
You
I'm
idiot.
like,
It's food.
all right, I guess I'll have the ketchup.
Yeah.
I'll have the London Heinz ketchup.
Right. So I had a delicious little beef pie that had like stew meat in it, and then it had a crust. It was like a pot pie but made with beef. It was good.
Yours was horse. Did you see on the menu?
Whatever. It was delicious.
Horse.
So yes. So we had that. We each had a pint of beer or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And then we.
No, we did not. We had a Pepsi.
Oh, you were already missing Cokes.
So here's the thing. We drink a lot of Diet Dr. Pepper. Like, we get several 2 liters of Diet Dr. Pepper a week at home. And I knew that on the cruise ship, Cokes are either going to be expensive. They're not hard to find. They're just expensive.
And they're all Pepsi brand, yeah.
Right. Yeah, there is no real Coca-Cola. It's all Pepsi. And so we'd already, like, I don't know, I wouldn't be having withdrawals by then, but I was like, oh man, that sounds really good. I'll take a Pepsi. And then she
Yeah.
was like, do you want lemon in it or something, and I'm like, these kooky Brits.
It's funny
I
because
do
you're
it.
like, how would you eat it? But when it comes to Cokes, he's like, hell no, I
Just
want.
give it to me.
Can you give Diet Dr. Pepper? And they're like, what?
Right, they're like, never heard of it. So,
No.
anyway, we had our meal. We walked around outside a little bit. There's an alleyway, like you said, the alleyway in the show, I think, had different things. But now everything in the alleyway is like thrift store and Ted Lasso collectibles, pastries and Ted Lasso collectibles. I mean, and
Yeah,
they're
it's
really
fun.
capitalizing on
Of
that
course.
little area.
Hit it while it's hot, you
Right.
know. So anyway, we Ubered back. Rob liked the Uber drivers from different countries. That's always something that's interesting. And then, let's see, that same day, we rode the London Eye. We were supposed to
Okay.
take trains around town and stuff. We were too tired.
Right, so I'm going to say one thing. As you guys know, I never talk about politics on the show. I never do any of that stuff. But this is what I will say. Every Uber driver that we encountered was very curious about the states and would tiptoe asking around like how we thought things were going or who did you vote for or things like that. And then conversations came out of that. So they are very curious about our opinion
About how we feel
of
and-
things
yeah.
right now. So and so there, we did had conversations with the Uber drivers and stuff. But also for me, like it's just as interesting. Like you could ask a question like, well, when the government does this, blah blah blah. Like that's a question, right? But another question is, which side of the how do gas stations here work?
Oh yeah,
Or what snacks do you like? We're just like it's just literally like an open Wikipedia,
Yeah,
and
I'm
we've got them
always-
stuck for 30 minutes where they have to answer our
yeah,
questions.
yeah. I'm always interested in the local culture and traditions and stuff like
Sure,
that anywhere I
sure,
go.
sure.
So, anyway, so we Ubered back, and then, by the way, I've been working on this itinerary for months now, and Rob is basically in the dark about everything. Even though I've emailed you an itinerary, I know you didn't look at it, but it has things like down to the train number, the seat number for everything, right? So I had on there that we were going to do the London Eye. I'm guessing you didn't know what the London Eye was before this trip.
I thought the London Eye. I thought that was I thought that was like something about their metro system.
Oh, the tube.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to get those two confused too. So we went to the London Eye.
So we walk around the corner, and there's a street, and then when you look over the street, it goes down like a story below us, right? So you're looking down in this hole that's like 10 foot down, and I'm like, whoa, we're pretty high up. And then we turn around, and Susan's like, oh, that's the London Eye. The London Eye is I would call it a Ferris wheel. It may not be the
It's
actual
40
term.
stories tall.
45.
Okay.
It's 440 odd feet tall. It has 32 pods. So they're like glass eggs that you get into.
And they're like rooms. They're not like regular Ferris wheels.
Yeah, it says
Rooms
they'll
with
hold
a-
25 people.
Yeah.
But that's pushing it, I would think. But so there, in the middle of each one, there's a bench that's 2 people wide, so 2 people could sit back to back and look out the pod. Or there's railings all around where you could just go up and sit on the railing and look around. Now, I did read online that the Eye has 32 pods, but they're numbered 1 through 33 because there's no number 13
Makes
for
sense.
superstition.
Who
right?
wants to be in pod number 13?
Right. So I'm looking over this railing like, boy, are we high up because we're 10 feet over the road. And then Susan's like, oh, we're getting on the world's biggest. It wasn't, when it was built, it was the world's largest Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
But it's since been overtaken by some other ones.
So
But
I'm just going to say that when we're walking up to it, Rob is pissed. And you're like, did you ask me if I wanted to do this? And I was like, no, I didn't ask you. I
No,
didn't ask you about anything.
it
on
just
this
went
trip.
on the itinerary. I should have read it.
I planned it all, right?
Right.
Yeah. So also, I meticulously planned it so
Uh-huh.
that it would be happening exactly at the time of sunset. I looked up the sunset time and I booked our time for it.
I found all the grains of the coffee right at the bottom of the
That's going to
cup.
be a spit take.
That was a split take. Oh, gross. So anyway, it was like fingernails. So
Oh, I got the fingernail coffee.
So the thing about the London Eye, this one thing is, it takes half an hour for it to do an entire rotation or revolution. So it's a half-hour ride. But number 2, it never stops. Now I did read they said if somebody like to make it handicap accessible, it can stop.
Yeah, it's got little ramps that go in,
Right.
so you could even use a wheelchair or scooter mobility aid to get in. Oh my God, you guys, we're in public.
But it's the coffee grounds.
Awesome. It's all in your beard. Give yourself a minute for grooming.
So
Jesus.
anyway, this beard has been great. Everybody on the ship loves the beard.
Oh, who
except for
told you?
one person.
Who said that?
Everybody but you.
I have not heard anybody go, good morning,
Because you don't,
I love your beard.
Because you don't speak with a London accent like I do. You don't understand them.
We're going to have a whole podcast about Rob's accents, by the way. But
So
anyway, we ride the eye.
the thing is, when you get on the eye, it doesn't stop. It's just going super slow. And as your pod's coming down, they open the door, they go, get ready to run. And there's like a platform kind of attached to it that's moving with it, and a platform that stopped. And then you just get on and you're like, whoa, 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 almost like a fun house, you know? You're like, whoa, whoa, and then you get on the thing. And I mean, it's not going fast, but it's going
I'm
faster.
glad you didn't do that. Everybody else was just getting on, and Rob's like, woo, woo, woo.
It was like stepping off of ice, you know what I mean? Like it's moving.
Yeah.
So we get in there, we rode that. I mean, the view, here's the thing. It's moving so slow that like next to us is like across the river is like a 15-story building.
Yeah.
And you're like, God, look at that building. And then you're going and going, and then you're like, we're like halfway as high as that building. And then you go, and then you're like, we're even with the top of that building. And then 10 minutes later, you're like, where is that building? It's so far down.
Yeah, all you can see is the ceiling of the roof of the building.
Roughly,
you know?
they say a story of a building is 10 foot.
Right.
So that building that's 15 stories is 150 foot. We went 450 feet.
Right.
I mean, now the views, it is impossible to take a bad picture from up there.
Yeah. But somehow I managed.
She pulled it off.
So anyway,
But it was cool.
When we're on the eye, the sun's setting. There are only like 4 other couples on that. So we have the very
There's
last
9 people, including us.
Yeah, we were the last pod of the night before they closed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And there were no more, like, maybe a couple of walk-ups or whatever, but our pod wasn't full, so we had lots of room to walk around, take lots of sunset pictures. From there, you can see, obviously, way past Parliament and Westminster Abbey, and then all the way down the river, both east and west, right? So to the east, you can see London Bridge, the Tower Bridge, the Tower of London,
everything.
Way far into other boroughs and stuff like that. It was really nice and a good surprise. At the end, he was not as mad. He was actually, you were pretty happy.
Cool. It was nice. Here's the thing, if you'd told me beforehand, I would have been worrying about it the whole time. But once you're there and you're like, I already bought the tickets, we got to get on, and you see other people getting on. You know?
Yeah, I think you only had about 20 minutes of
definitely
anxiety.
we were not the last group, because there was like, you know when you're like getting on an airplane or in a line anywhere where you go to a line and
or a queue, as they say there.
Right, getting a queue for the anyway, like right behind us is like a guy and then a mom and 8 kids that all have these soft serve ice cream cones, and I was like, dear Jesus, don't let them be on our, I don't, you know. And so we got on, and then they were waiting for their people to catch up, so they got on the pod behind us. So I was like,
oh, that's right. They were in line in front of us, remember? And then they got sent to the back of the line for some reason. I don't know why. They had to go re-get their tickets or something.
Bad accents.
Bad planning.
So anyway, London Eye is cool. We get off the London Eye, and there is almost like a haunted house, not a haunted house, but like an attraction, it's a tourist attraction thing, but it's called London Dungeon. Now, I looked up on the thing online, and it said, we did not go in London Dungeon, but it said like, character actors will tell you about the days of horror in London dungeons and all. I'm only interested because I know the Misfits song London Dungeon, and I'm like, London Dungeon, that's it, you know. But then we see it's like $35 to get in, and I was like, they didn't mention that in the song. And so it was $35 to get in the London Dungeon. But that was, it was interesting, and you could take pictures outside, but we didn't go in. But but that's pretty much day one of London, right? We're gonna have to go faster too.
Oh yeah, so we're at the 30-minute mark here, which is good. So one other note about London and all of Europe is there is no Americans with Disabilities Act there, right?
No.
So I am a lifetime whatever Marriott member, and usually Marriott's are pretty disability inclusive and stuff. To get into the Marriott itself, there was like 10 steps just to get into the main entrance, and this building was the Old County Hall of London. So it was a historic building that couldn't be changed. And then to get into our room itself, there were 5 more steps, which I thought was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. But all over London, like even though I had planned out the routes and stuff, like to get from the London Eye to our hotel, we had to go up 2 flights of steps or walk a whole walk around.
Right.
So my knees, which need to be replaced, were just shot. So
It was a lot of the whole thing's been a lot of steps.
a lot of steps, yeah.
All right, so London and I, we're back to the hotel.
Day 2.
We do get access to the concierge lounge because of her Marriott points or whatever, and so we ate a lot of meals there, just like finger food kind of stuff or whatever.
Which, well, also the free breakfast in the library, the former library of the county
we're
hall.
getting to that.
That was what we started out our next day
Next
with.
morning, right.
So it's a big library in the first floor of the building, and it overlooks the River Thames. And each little table has a telescope with a map printed on the window seat type deal, where while you're waiting for your breakfast, you can look out.
So
at
we're
the
almost
window.
like in a window seat bay kind of thing. There's a telescope, and it has like, hey, this is Big Ben. This is what you're seeing.
And this is the first time that Rob has beans.
No. Okay, so here's the thing.
Beans for breakfast.
I've heard about this my whole life. Like
Beans on toast.
right, like what would you call it? English breakfast or
Proper
whatever.
English.
Proper English breakfast,
yeah.
and that is on the menu. It literally just says English breakfast, and you get ham, sausage, what else? Eggs.
Eggs. Yeah, they call it a rasher of bacon, and bacon is really ham.
Right.
Right.
And then a helping of beans, and also they had was it also a brown sauce?
They gave you brown sauce.
But it was totally different. It was like sweet barbecue sauce.
It was canned. Yeah.
It was good.
So, anyway,
And
we
that
did
has started my long stretch of beans for breakfast, which I will never end. It was the most. I mean, of all anything you want to say bad about London or the UK or anything,
I love
you got to
London.
give them credit. Coming up with beans for breakfast, thumbs up.
I love London. So I had booked the big bus tours, so inclusive, that's the hop on, hop off bus. There's a night tour that comes with it, a walking tour if you want. It also includes our river cruise. So we're using the big bus for transportation, right? So day 2 is Tower of London. And we went outside the hotel to wait for the big bus. And what I'm going to say is the wait was a little bit long, and we almost got killed by bicyclists several
That
times.
is true. So it's like the main road, and then a little island where you would step, and then there's a bike lane that doesn't seem like it should be a bike lane.
No.
And bicyclists coming through approximately, I don't know,
90 miles an hour?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
just super fast, like on 10 speeds. And every now and then they'll ring a bell. Well, multiple, and it was literally, there was one time, it was like a deer in headlights where I stopped and I looked and I saw a guy coming and I was like, do I go forward or back? And he's like, ugh, and somehow we missed each other. But
Like Chevy Chase on the American or
the whole
European
thing
vacation.
was like a Chevy
So
Chase.
anyway, we take the big bus tour. So it's a nice little 30-minute drive to the Tower of London. We go
What's
to
on the agenda for day 2?
so Tower of London, and then we're going to take a river cruise up the Thames from the Tower. We're going to go to lunch at these little igloos that I've rented.
Yeah.
Because last time I was at the Tower of London, I ate at this restaurant called the Coppa Club.
Okay. Tower of London.
The igloos,
Yeah.
the river cruise,
Yeah.
Westminster Abbey.
Westminster Abbey, that's what I'm
And then I have a meeting with my company. So all the people who do work with me for my shoe company
All right.
are based in the UK. So the whole evening was
You got
shoe
5
company.
minutes to get through all these.
All right. So we do Tower of London, and basically it's a highlights tour for us. I know
It's not a tower.
in the middle is White's Tower.
It's not like when you drive up, you're like, oh, there's no tower, like a giant tower. Like the London Eye is way taller than.
Right. It's a fortress, and in the
Yes.
middle is White's Tower. So the Tower of London, it's a place where the mint was, where royalty lived, where they had animal collection, where prisoners went, and the executions happened. All those things.
And
The crown jewels.
the crown jewels.
So if you've been there before, first thing you do when you get there is make a beeline for the crown jewels because the line gets really, really long. We walked right in. We saw the crown jewels. Rob is not super impressed. I love them. And then we go to the site where Anne Boleyn was beheaded. Rob loved that.
I did love that. It's like, like when you're making tourist stops or something, it could be anything, right? It could be like, like we have the one near us on Route 66. There's a sign that says, this is where Paul McCartney stopped to get directions because he got lost on Route 66. So then that's a thing, and people go and you see that. She loves that one, by the way.
I do.
So, when you go to the Tower of London, I mean, there's signs that are like, this was built, over 1,000 years ago. This wall was built 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Or this was whatever. This is where the crown jewels and this and that. But then when you have a big round thing and there's a sign and it says, "Yep, this is where they lopped off Anne Boleyn's head." I like that.
Right, and there's a little cathedral, a little tiny church in the back that was closed this time, but I've been in there before. That Anne Boleyn and I think 2 of Henry VIII's wives are buried at, and they say that only 8 to 12 people were executed at the Tower of London. No way. When they went to do some refurbishment of that cathedral, the floor fell in because there were so many bodies, decapitated bodies. So anyway, we missed a lot of stuff at the Tower of London. There's a whole tower where you can go see like Henry VIII's armor and then all the torture devices and the big executioner's actual axes in there.
But it's steps to get up there, right?
110 steps to get into White's Tower. I'm out.
Yeah.
I didn't do it last time either.
We had a fun time. We walked around. We saw stuff. We followed people. We looked at crown jewels.
Yep. And
off
then
to the next day.
Right across literally right across the sidewalk outside the tower is this restaurant that's got little igloos that the doors shut in and you rent them privately.
It's
and
like
they look over the River Thames.
What do you call it? Like a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Like an igloo. It's like a greenhouse and a round table in the middle.
Couch.
Right. And ideally it would be for 8 to 10 people or something, but it's just us.
You have to rent them months and months in advance. And so we had lunch there. Really fun, cute little waiter guy. Mm-hmm. We walked from there to just down a few steps to the Tower Pier, and we take the Thames River Cruise, which we're the only people. It's a double-decker boat. We're the only people on the top deck for most of the time.
So here's the thing. Let's say this boat is 2 stories, just like the red buses, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say the bottom holds 100 people, and the top holds 100 people, just rough. The bottom has 95 people in it.
Yeah.
Right. There's like literally we could not have sat together. And the top has 0 people. So we're like, hey, I guess we'll go sit up on the top. And of course this is all like in Fahrenheit, but it's like 50 degrees and raining and windy and cold.
Yeah, windy and cold. Metal benches.
Yeah. And so we're just freezing up there.
Right.
The only people that come up there are kids that don't know better and us.
Right. So anyway, we do that. You see the city from that point of view. When you get out, you're at Westminster Pier, which...
Oh, and we got passed by Uber boats.
Yeah.
Which we've never seen before. I've never seen before. So, of course, in the States, we know about Uber, and you'd use an Uber to call a car or whatever, but they literally have boats, like big, long boats that say Uber on the side.
Yeah.
And you can literally get on an Uber boat and take it down somewhere.
Right. So we get out at Westminster Pier, walk up another couple flights of steps, and that puts you in Parliament Square, which literally Parliament's in session right there, and there's always protesters there.
Is that what went into Westminster Abbey?
Yeah, that was the big square where Winston Churchill and all that. They have a bunch of statues of like Nelson Mandela and famous people.
So we walk up,
yeah,
and there's people protesting about the Gaza and
Israel.
Palestine. Yeah, Palestine. So they're all protesting, right? And then, but we hear something. There's like some horn. And it wasn't like
It was like some really annoying thing.
Right, and it kept going off. But then we looked at it, it was coming from a tractor. And someone was like, oh, that's the farmers. The farmers are protesting.
Yeah, they have a big sign that says no farms, no food.
Right.
And they're just driving around and around and around Parliament Square all day long.
Right, and this is not a large area.
No, and so that means when we're inside Westminster Abbey, you can hear that tractor going off the whole time, which also means the people in the House of Commons and the House of Lords can also hear it all day long.
But so like, it wasn't just like one group was there protesting. It's like all protests go there.
It's the place to protest.
That is a protesting place.
So we walk over through Parliament Square and we are heading to Westminster Abbey.
Cool statues outside, by the way. There's a statue of Gandhi. There's a statue of Nelson Mandela. There was several.
Just lots of famous people in history, right? So then as we're walking, it's raining. And then by the time we get to Westminster Abbey, which normally should be like a 10-minute walk, it's sleeting on us, raining and sleeting at the same time. So I have my tickets in my hand and we walk in, we're just following a queue in, and the security guard lets us in, and we've basically started the Westminster Abbey tour backwards.
Right, because they're trying to get people out of the weather. Because so far that day we've had sun, we've had cold, we'd have wind, we've had rain, we've had sleet.
Yeah.
Like the whole London experience.
Right.
But yeah, it's literally like ice is bouncing off us, and so they kind of take us in a different way.
Right. So Westminster Abbey is the church where all the coronations for the kings and queens have happened since 1066 during the William the Conqueror days. Mm-hmm. It's also where most of the royal weddings happen and stuff like that. So I love all that royal history.
And zillions of famous people are buried.
Yes, and that's what I thought Rob would really enjoy. So
I got to stand on Stephen Hawking's remains, sort of.
Yeah, and Charles Dickens, and then they've
Isaac Newton.
Isaac Newton. Yeah, there's little areas.
You don't get to stand on him. He's like on a wall.
Right.
But Hawking, he didn't get that.
No.
He just gets it. It's like the Hollywood Walk of Fame. if every one of those stars is where a dead person
Right.
was in there.
There's somewhere they just have memorials, like William Shakespeare had a huge memorial that his body's actually at Stratford and on Avon, right? So anyway, we did that. We did like the quick and dirty tour of the downstairs, and then we had a special behind the scenes tour that goes up into the attic that was opened up in 2018 for the Queen's Jubilee, her 75th year, which was pretty cool. Being in the attic itself of the building was pretty
Right,
cool.
because you could look out, you know, you're like up in the tower, you can see down. There's like suits of armor and death masks and stuff like that, but it's mostly for people I don't know.
Yeah.
And then there's a thing that's under glass and it's in this dark room, and it seems like it was the original Magna Carta, but we're not sure if it was. Is that the original?
It's like in sealed glass. We're gonna have to do research on it.
Yeah,
But
because there's nobody
like,
guarding it. Like I could have taken it.
Like, no, you couldn't have.
You bet.
It's
You know
behind
what?
2-inch thick plexiglass. But anyway, so we'll have to research that. But
Chop right through that. So anyway, here's the thing. Like Susan loves. I don't know if you watched Downton Abbey, but you watched the Queen. Ever since Princess Di
Yep.
got her head chopped or whatever in that car
I watched
accident.
I remember getting up in the night watching her wedding when I was a little
all
kid.
of it, all
Yep.
of it. And here's the thing, I couldn't care less. So to me, it's interesting from a historical perspective, you know? Like you go, oh, Anne Boleyn got her head chopped off. You go, that's where it happened. You go, oh, that's interesting. You know what I mean? But like when it's like, oh, Henry VIII was over here, and you go, you know, I mean, it's okay, but.
Right. So anyway, so we took a cab back from Westminster Abbey,
Uh-huh.
right? And then basically I had my shoe meeting for a few hours, and I invited my followers from my Legs Like Mine brand to come, and I had a few visitors from that. But basically my shoe designers, the people who I'm doing work with, we were looking at new styles. I had gotten a room, a meeting space and food and stuff at the hotel, which gave Rob some free time.
Yeah, just kind of chill. You know, I would say overall, I found British television pretty awful. Like, just a lot of news channels and stuff, you know, but I did finally find the reality one, and I enjoyed watching, like, they were having cooking competitions and stuff, which is just fun to see the culture a little bit,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we ate at the concierge lounge again that night. I had duck spring rolls, which I'd never had duck before, so that was pretty good.
Also a free 24-hour access to Pepsi's, which was nice for you.
Yes,
right?
so there's like a freezer door thing where you could just like get whatever, and every time we went by there, I was like, get 2 Pepsis, and I'd put one right in my pocket, and I'd keep one, and if I was smart, I would have got 10.
Right.
Because they don't care, you know.
They don't watch. They don't care.
Right.
So the next morning we get up. We have more breakfast in the library, right? And this time,
Another English breakfast with
right,
beans.
Dear God, help me. We take an Uber. We pack up. We take an Uber to the Jack the Ripper Museum.
Oh, okay,
over
so
in
this is the highlight for me.
Whitehall area, in the actual area.
Whitechapel,
sorry, where the actual area where Jack the Ripper was.
Right. So this museum is not, the location has no real association other than being in that part of town. And we get there, and I'm like, this doesn't look like a museum to me on the outside. It's a very narrow building.
It's like a brownstone, yeah.
In not a strip mall, but like a whole street of buildings. It's painted red or something. And we go in, and there's a nice lady behind the counter, and she's like, well, here's how you do the tour. You're on the ground floor, or you're on the first floor right now, but you're going to walk up to the second floor, then you're going to walk to the third floor, then you're going to walk to the fourth floor, and then the highlight is what's in the basement. So you're going to walk down all those floors to go down to the basement, and then walk back up to the first floor.
Right.
So Susan's knees are literally sound like the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz.
Stomping on a box of crackers.
Yes. But we find the secret lift.
Thank God.
Yes, and so now, and I'm going to tell you about this museum in 30 seconds. You know, when you go to a museum like this, it's really to learn about what's happened, right? Okay, Jack the Ripper, was almost 150 years ago. Give or take, right? So it turns out I know the story. Like, I know what happened. I don't know
you know
who
how
he
it
is.
ends?
Right, I know how it ends. And then, so it's like they go, okay, let's go up to the first room, and we go to the first room, and it's like, I don't even remember what it was. It
was a scene of the inspector guy looking down on a dead body.
Yeah, so they like put a mannequin on the floor, and they put a mannequin that's supposed to be the police officer over, and he's looking down, and then there's like some stuff on the wall like newspapers, and I'm like, this room does not have very much to look at. And I'm like, this is 1/4 of the museum, right? And these rooms are
small. 12 by
Smaller
12, 14
smaller
by
than my
14.
office, right? Yeah, smaller than my office at my house. So yeah, maybe 12 by 12, 13 by 13, something like that. Like you walk in there and you go, huh? Like we spent more time walking up the stairs than you would spend in that room.
Taking the slow lift, which again I'm
Yeah.
super grateful for. Anyway, go ahead.
One of the floors it said, this might have looked like the detectives. There was a lot of like, this could have been what he looked like, like this could have been a thing. I was looking for like authentic stuff, but of course they never caught him.
They did have authentic stuff from the police detectives.
Right, so they're like, here's the handcuffs he carried that day when he found a body.
They had some of the real notes that Jack the Ripper had sent to the police department.
I don't think those were, I think they were copies. Yeah, but I mean, you could see what they look like, but I've seen them, you know what I mean?
They had as many artifacts as could be gotten, like, a few hats and clothes and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then on the top floor, it was a recreation of the bar that they think that maybe Jack the Ripper met some of the people, and there was one of the victims, she was like sitting at a table, and it had it was a small table, and it had these little stools, around it. And so I told Susan to take my picture. I went over on the stool, and of course the lady, the mannequin is sitting there, and then I'm like this. I'm like, I just paused, and then these people. The thing is, the whole museum's very darkly lit too. So these other people, another group, come in, and I'm sitting at the table like this.
They think he's a mannequin.
I held it for as long as I could, and then he comes back, and I go, "Hello, mate!" Like real loud.
Scared the crap out of him.
He shoved. It's so funny.
Right. You got a few things in the gift shop?
We did. We got some gift shop stuff. I got a hat, and we got some. That's really what it is tons of books, and they were all. You notice they're like self-published books.
Yeah.
A
bunch. They had a big variety of them. Yeah, which was good.
Plenty of stuff there, But yeah. Here's what I would say. It's more of a thing to say, hey, I went to the museum. That's more what I got out of it than saying, oh, here's what I got out of the museum.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's more of just like you checked it off.
So that museum also offers a daily walking tour to go to the actual sites where they found the murder victims, which we just didn't have time to do.
Right.
So we Uber back. We go get our bags. We go to what's called St. Pancras train station. It's like a super busy train station, and Rob got to experience how much fun it is to wait in London for the train. And basically, what happens is they have people from 4 different trains at a time coming in this one waiting area that just gets more and more and more congested, and there's no place to sit.
Imagine a airplane terminal where at the end they had 12 chairs and there's 850 people waiting to board a plane. So it's
of course we get there early because we want to, make sure that you have to go through passport control and all that stuff. So we waited. We get on the Eurostar. We're not in first class, but we're like in middle level class, and they served us a really nice meal on Eurostar. Basically, that one goes 184 miles an hour under the English Channel, the tunnel that was built in there, and Rob slept through it all.
It was great. Okay, we got to skip ahead.
Okay, I think you're at the 1 hour mark. You want to stop it and do a new video, or are you
No,
good? Okay.
We'll.
All right.
So we get to Paris.
We get to Paris. We go straight to our hotel, which we got upsold on, so that we could get a little tiny room with an extra bed in it that took too much room. And
the guy says, "Oh, I could get you a view of the street, blah blah blah." We see another accent.
It's Rob.
And so we're like, great. And so when we get to our room, there's like a desk in front of the window and curtain, so you'd have to move furniture to be able to see out this window.
Right. We didn't care. We were just there for a few hours.
Right. And then what they've done is, like, the people before us, there's like a king size bed, but they had another guest, so there's like a trundle bed thing that's there. And then at one point we asked them, could they move it? And they said, yeah, oh, sorry. And then they never did. So I MacGyvered a thing to get it out of the way.
He stood it up on its end. So anyway, we had a short nap. We Uber to the tower, the Eiffel Tower.
So Susan has purchased tickets for us to eat dinner on the observation deck, not the very, very top, but the second floor.
The second floor is like, I'm making up numbers, but let's say 100 feet in the air. It's up there, right? And so you can see now the River Seine, S-E-I-N-E, is the river that runs through Paris. Very historic, obviously. Beautiful, city of light, right?
So first of all, the Eiffel Tower is very large. Because we got dropped off on the wrong side. And so we have to walk all the way around.
Walk 20 minutes to get to the other
to get
corner.
to the right side. And then it's more, the food was really good. right?
Yeah.
But
French,
here's the thing.
French tasting menu.
You're going to have to order, like, it's one of those where you go, you're going to have to order like one of these 3 dishes. Like, what's your 3 dinner choices, you know? And like, none of them is a Big Mac.
It's a fixed price menu. And so, and
I got lobster bisque with bits of crab and something else and caviar.
Yeah, and it was good, right?
I mean, it was good, but it was good.
Yeah, so then you get 3 glasses of wine, you
That
get a
was
glass
better.
of champagne, you
Right.
get still water. Everybody gets a little beef pie slice for one of the courses, and then so we had multiple courses. We had nice desserts. You had that little baked Alaska thing that had a different name.
Yeah.
Right. I had a little chocolate mousse.
But-
and it takes 2 hours, 2 hours 15 minutes to eat this dinner. It's lovely.
Right, so you got this long time, and she reserved a table that was right next to the window, so
Right.
you're looking out. You could see part of the Eiffel Tower. You could see the city. I mean, it was
Yeah.
romantic.
It was really a cool thing, and
Too far away.
we're too far away. Anyway, so then we leave the Eiffel Tower, and
Oh,
there's
we met our friends.
I met some people from New York City. Well,
No, Kathy.
that was the next day.
Oh, see.
See, he's still stuck in somewhere else, Mexico.
Yeah,
All right, so
Spain.
we take a car back to the hotel, sleep, get up, pack our junk. So we're just kind of moving about Europe, right? I have scheduled to have breakfast with our friend Kathy, who has moved to Paris like 25 years
Friends of
ago.
ours from high school.
Right. She comes home every summer, and we see her. And then when I go to the couple times I've been to Paris, I meet with her. Right. So we ate at a restaurant across from Napoleon's tomb. I'd eaten there before with my Girl Scouts.
Now, let me say one thing. Before this whole vacation started, for a week, Susan was super sick. And I told her, I was like, she's like, well, maybe we should do that. I was like, there's no way you're not going to make me sick. I'm guaranteed I will get sick. On the plane ride to London, I start coughing, and it has been sinus drainage and coughing and hacking and sore throat and cough drops and mucinex. I mean, just a non-stop thing. This day on the trip is like the epitome. It's like the apex of the cold. Like, we go have breakfast, and I'm just, it hasn't really hit me yet until we're done with breakfast. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself and we get on the river thing, but at that point, I'm out. I'm done.
Right.
But
so we have a nice breakfast with our friends, right?
And then we have to wait there for a while.
We have to wait because I have ordered a giant croissant that costs 32 euros. It's like this big, and they only sell it at one brand of restaurant. It's like a local bakery there, Patisserie, and the bakery doesn't open until 10. And so we take.
And they had to go to work. Our friends had to go to work at 9:15.
She was teaching. It was a Saturday.
Right.
So we Uber over to the restaurant to pick up my mega croissant, and it's everything I had hoped for. They had made 3 that day for 3 people who pre-ordered it, by the way. And we take the mega croissant to right down to the river to get on our boat and get on a river boat. And Rob is not feeling well.
So we took a riverboat cruise. Was it down the Seine
River?
Seine River. And the way I described it was, this was like going into a library of books you've never read and then getting a tour of the cover of these books. That's what the tour was like. I mean, you drive by it, and also most of the tour was in French.
So he had my headphones on and was listening to a podcast that was pre-recorded.
Which had
English.
nothing to do with where we were.
Right. So
Like, they would be like, and this famous bridge, and I'm like, there's no bridge, or where are we, and it would say something about a bridge. But as we're driving, and then the guy's doing the tour in French, and he's like, Je vous dis au bridge. And I'm like, what is this? So I can't understand anything, and I just want to go to sleep. Actually, I just want to die. That's all I want to do, is just let me die in peace, not hearing French.
So Rob missed Notre Dame Cathedral, which
I saw Notre Dame. It was on the other side of the thing.
Still under construction, and they go down the river. They go down Old Paris, which is on an island. There's 2 islands in the river, and then it goes back past the Eiffel Tower, and then you're done, right? So
done.
So done. So anyway, we take some pictures with the croissant on the boat, which is super fun, and basically from there, we hightail it back to the hotel, get our stuff.
We do not. We take an Uber, and Susan talks to the Uber driver and says, hey, when we leave here, here's the thing. Will you drive us by Notre Dame, which, by the way, is 15 minutes, 20 minutes the wrong direction. will you drive us to Notre Dame so we could get out, take some pictures? You leave the meter running or whatever, then we'll hop back in, then you'll take us the 20 minutes back to where we are, and then another 20 minutes back to our hotel, or something like that. It's this long thing. And so every Uber driver that we've had up until this point, super cool, super nice. They all wanted to ask us about the states. They all wanted to tell us about where they're from. I mean, they told us about congestion charges in parts of the city and why driving Uber is good or bad, and you know, just all kinds of conversations. So we get to this guy, and this guy like does not want crap from us.
He's making money. Who cares?
Right. He drives us to Notre Dame, and Susan's like, "Okay, we're gonna get out and take pictures." He goes, "No, police here. You can't do that." And he's like, he won't even stop. He's like, "Well, there was," and now we're driving back. So literally, we paid this guy to go an extra 40 minutes for nothing.
Right.
I mean, this guy was like, I told her, by the way, when you do Uber, do you rate the people? You're supposed to do 5 stars. Dude, she's like, I don't know that. I don't know you got to rate them 5 stars because that guy, not 5 stars.
I've never had anybody deny me a ride. So anyway.
You got to rate them.
Yeah, we did get a nice view. And I think one of the things you got to see, even though you weren't interested, was along the Seine River. It's like a really nice place to walk and stuff. And there are all these little booths that have a little flap that closes on it. Like mini fireworks stands, but they're permanent there. And people have wares and stuff that they sell, and they just come and open up the flap for the day. Mm-hmm. And then it could be like, it's a lot of art, and then souvenirs, berets, yeah, stuff like that. But anyway, it was kind of cool for you to get to see that.
Yeah.
So Notre Dame's still under construction. Just as a side note, I had been in Notre Dame 2 weeks before it caught on fire. Actually in, and like really had a nice good tour and stuff. So I was wanting to get in. Now they give away 15,000 tickets a day, but you can only get them 3 days in advance. I logged in at midnight to get the tickets for the day we needed, and they were gone immediately. So we weren't able to get tickets, and there's just no other way.
Back to the hotel. We got our luggage because now we got to go get on the train. Right.
Different train station, Gare de Lyon.
Right.
And it's lovely. It's beautiful.
So I watch van life. People do van life all over the world, right? Mm-hmm. And there's one guy who does it, and he's in London, or he's in the UK, Europe, and he's always talking about pigeons. And he's always like, "Oh, this pigeon, this and that." Like, I don't know how many pigeons I've seen in my life up to this point. Like 3. Like, not like we don't see a lot of pigeons. Do you think?
No, because we don't live in a city.
Right. Okay. On this tour, or this vacation, we've seen at least 200,000 pigeons. And, I mean, they're in the train station. Like, they've got the spikes on top of things.
Your feet,
they're everywhere. It's like we sit down at a table in the train station just to kill time. There's these people next to us. And I sit down, there's a pigeon under the table. So when I sit down, the pigeon just takes off and it like flies right through their table. And then these ladies jump and they look at me like it was my pet pigeon, like I brought it. And I go, ta-da! Like I didn't even know what to say. It wasn't my pigeon. I didn't bring a pigeon to the train station.
So this is the first place under the Eiffel Tower is pretty sketchy. There's a lot of people selling souvenirs who shouldn't be. But the
old put it on blanket thing so you can wrap it up when people come.
It's congested, so you're supposed to watch for pickpockets. Definitely in the train stations, watch for pickpockets because they're public areas.
They're like, you are in a high pickpocket area.
Yeah. So we have, I have special backpacks that are like anti-slash that I take on all my trips, and then the zippers like close shut. But the people who are sitting next to us are like, don't set your bag down for 1 second because they steal everything here.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, this is a beautiful, nice area. We have a place to sit. We have a chance to have drinks and meet people. And then basically you're watching a board that says, okay, your train is on track number 3 or whatever. And you have like 20 minutes to just sort of meander to your spot. You have to bring your own luggage, put your luggage in a stow, and then go sit in your nice reclining seat. So we did that.
We go get on our seat. So we're in, is it first class?
Yes.
So, but I think there's only 2 choices.
Yeah, there's only 2 choices.
Right. So we got a first class, and we end up in a 2x2 seat configuration. So we've got 2 seats facing this way. There are 2 seats facing us, and a thin table in the middle where it folds out like that. We get in our spot, and we're like, maybe there won't be any, but wrong. Immediately.
A French guy with a mullet.
Yeah, and then a French guy without a mullet.
Right.
And they immediately sit down, and we go, hi, and they open their laptops, and all we saw was the back of their laptop and the top of their mullets. like this, right?
Right. Train starts going, and then I pull out the mega croissant for a picture, and that broke the ice.
So they get a picture with the mega croissant. Everybody loves the mega croissant but me. And
everybody laughs when you pull it out because it's so ridiculous, right?
So so this is an 8-hour trip, more or less, from Paris to Barcelona. I think we're going to be stuck across from these dudes the whole time, and also, like, you got to put your bags up above you, your carry-on. I thought I was going to have a spot like between my legs or something to put my bag. So I've got like my tablet, I've got my headphones, I've got all my chargers, I've got everything. But now it's up here. I can't even get to it because I'm by the window. So every time I want something, I'm like, hey, could you stand up on this 180-mile-an-hour train and grab, So eventually we pull the bag in between us, and it works.
You're so much happier.
Yeah, a little tighter, but so there's stops on this, and at one stop, well, at one point, one of the dudes just gets up and leaves, and I'm like, did we just piss him off, or is he like done with us? But that guy's gone, and then we get to a stop, and this guy leaves, and we're like, hey, now we're gonna have this all to our nope. This little Japanese woman comes, and she, like, I could tell that she's having trouble reading the English,
our
like
alphabet,
right, seeing what her ticket and matching it to her seat. So, and she's with 2 other people, and none of them are sitting together. There's a kid that's behind us somewhere. Her husband is somewhere else, and she's kind of walking up and down the thing. And then she's looking and I'm like, Susan, look at her ticket, see if that's. And Susan looks at the ticket. It's the right one, and she's, I mean, if you've been around like people like, not even, I mean, I guess some Japanese American, but like real Japanese people. Like, she's like, thank you,
So sweet, yeah.
Super grateful, super nice. So she gets on, off the train goes. It's pretty obvious she does not speak English, or maybe very, very, very little English, right? And we're going, and Susan pulls out of her purse some Starburst candy. She gives me a Starburst, and I got it, and then I go, hey, you got another one in there? And it was like your last one, right? I get the Starburst, and the lady is reading a book or doing something with her phone, and I take the Starburst, and I just slowly push it over on the table in front of her, okay? I don't even want to be funny. It would be like giving somebody a Royal Fabergé egg. Like something worth $1 million.
And Japanese culture is so much about reciprocity and that sort of thing.
Yes.
You never give a Japanese person a gift and without knowing that they're going to give you something back.
She opened this, the people, there's some older people that will like open a Christmas gift and they're going to save that wrapping paper. She opens this Starburst like this. She's like, and opens it all the way out, eats the Starburst, and then folds the paper all the way back. I was thinking, we've eaten hundreds and hundreds of Starbursts in our life, and I've never taken so much care. You know what I mean? Like, we just go like,
it's a burst of flavor, Rob.
Right. And then she starts thanking us. She's like, very delicious. And we're like, you know what? I'm glad you like the Starburst. Like, here's the thing. It was not.
You opened the door.
I did, and there was no like premeditated. Like, there was no. We had an extra piece of candy. Give her a piece of candy. She's traveling by herself, right? Okay. Then at one point, a few minutes later, she gets up and leaves, and I'm like, we ran off another one. People keep leaving our little area. She goes to her baggage, and she comes back with these 2 little boxes of candy. Now, I looked up, like, when we go to Chinese restaurants, they have the placemat, and it'll be like 1993 or 1994, the year of the rat, and 1995. Okay, so we're both 1973, the year of the ox, water buffalo specifically. Okay,
and explains my horns.
She brings back these 2 boxes of candy. One's red, one's green. And one has a snake on it, and I think 2025 is the year of the snake. And I forgot what the other one was.
They were both snakes.
Well, were they? I thought
one was curled up, and one was just his pointy little head.
I thought one was 2024, and it was last year's animal.
They were both snakes.
But regardless, she was like, limited edition. She's like saying this like that these are some sort of collectible candy or something like that. And now we're like, do we open these? Are we supposed?
Yeah,
right, we're like, we don't know if we're supposed to open them. And she's handing them to us, and she's like trying to explain the candy, and we don't get it, you know.
We're using our phones a lot and Google Translate and stuff.
And then a gift from heaven arrives. More specifically, a gift from a Japanese university, her nephew,
Yep.
who is 22, I think he says.
He's been studying English for 12 years.
Been studying English. And he comes down, and he sits in the fourth seat, and we're like, hey, tell her, thanks for the candy, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, he tells her, and then she says something, and so he becomes the full-time translator. And we spend the next hour and a half on the train having the greatest conversation with this Japanese woman, her nephew. They're going to Barcelona to go hiking. He's a like a national karate champ.
He earned the trip by learning how to speak English. So his aunt promised him if he would learn to speak English that she would take him on this trip. So at some point I say, hey, do you want to see something cool? And I pull down the croissant, the giant croissant, and it's on paper. And they both are dying laughing. And she calls over her husband who's in another seat, and everybody takes a picture with the croissant. It was fun.
It was very fun.
We all got each other's socials.
That's the thing that, you know, you could be on the other side of the country, but they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, they're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you make this, I told the kid, I was like, hey, you want to go backpacking and hiking, come to Oklahoma, stay with us for a few days or whatever, you know, and
he said he would.
He was very nice. All of them were super nice. So that made the trip a little better. You know what I mean? Rather than, I mean, we would have been fine sitting by ourselves, but
it was just, Rob likes
fun.
People. Rob has a little thing for little old ladies. You know. Okay, so we get to the train station, Barcelona. No big deal. Take a taxi back to the hotel. Get to the hotel at like 10:20, and we haven't eaten dinner yet. So we ate dinner just down in the hotel lobby. Nothing special. You had a ham sandwich, and I had a hamburger.
Here's the thing. It's like they had three choices.
Yeah.
Like I was looking for some kind of French, and it was like, here's your choices: hamburger. Some French thing was really a ham and cheese sandwich.
Which is weird because we were in Barcelona.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was, but it was weird. It was just whatever.
We shared a plate of fries, and we each had a Pepsi, so that always makes you happy, right?
So
we only have one night there.
Right. This is the only night, and so the next day, Susan has hired a private guide. What's that guy's name? David.
David.
And he's going to drive us around Paris. Now, here's the thing. We have been walking basically for 4 days straight, up and down steps, up and down everything. And we're like, David, this is what we want. I mean, Susan basically says.
Yeah, I in advance I told him, I was like, look, I have a mobility issue with my knees. So his normal spiel is he walks you through the Gothic Quarter.
He's like, hey, this is a short walk. It's only 5 miles.
Right.
And we're like.
Right, and he also drives a little bit and stuff. And I was like, and also there was a marathon in town that day, which really impeded our ability to get to stuff. So I was like, first of all, we want to start 30 minutes later than your normal start time. We skipped breakfast. We just had protein bars in the car. We got a little rest. We repack all our crap, right? We're trying not to unpack very much. And he drives us through the outskirts of the city.
But this is what we told him too. We said, listen, we're not going to complain about anything. And so we're going to be the most laid back people. I said, this is what we want. You drive us around Barcelona. You show us stuff that you think is interesting. And then we'll all go back and everybody have a good day. Right. That's it. Like, there's no disappointments here.
Right. So Barcelona is absolutely beautiful.
Oh,
they said they have 300 sunny days a year. There's mountains on one side. There is a big, beautiful beach on another side that's man-made. Barcelona was the host of the Olympics a few years back.
92.
Summer Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
So they had not only that, but they were also the host of the 1929 World's Fair or 39 World's Fair.
39.
Anyway, so back then they had about 6 million visitors come to the World's Fair, and in that year's money they spent $25 million to make some improvements and like build special things for the World's Fair. So there's all these really cool buildings built by 20 different countries that people visited over the course of 8 months, and he showed us all that.
Yeah, so he took us to the Olympic Stadium.
Got to see where the torch was shot in by the Olympic archer.
Right, he had to shoot it with an arrow to light the torch.
Yeah,
and then
cool.
So we were right there, but then they've added on to it. I think he said it holds 75,000 people, but it's for soccer.
Soccer stadium.
Well, European football.
Right.
So we saw that. He took us to like some scenic places to take place, and then everybody that was there said, if you're in Spain, Barcelona, you have to try tapas. So I didn't really know what tapas is, but tapas is not a type of food, it's a style of meal. So tapas is
plates for sharing.
Right. You're gonna go through the menu and you're gonna order 5 things, right? So our guide explained to us, he's like, if you take something off someone else's plate, it's very rude. But you put these plates of all the different foods, and then everybody you take whatever you got.
Right.
I'm gonna, I mean,
it's like an appetizer party.
You would think Paris, and obviously we had 1 or 2 meals, right? Known for great food and all this stuff. That tapas meal, like there was this, what was those little round things called?
Croquettes.
Croquettes. I mean, I would describe it as like a hush puppy with like the breading and cheese melted in, and like we got croquettes that had ham and cheese in the middle,
chicken,
and one with chicken. Oh my God, they were so good.
We had little breads with tomato like scrapings.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like tomato chunks, it was like zest of tomato
like
and zest
shavings,
of garlic.
yeah.
And then we had some
God.
chicken strips that were fried in a special batter, and fried cheese with blueberry compote, which was delicious.
Oh yeah.
And a Pepsi.
And a Pepsi. And
right.
So this is the funny thing, is that this little diner thing that he took us to go for lunch, it was kind of like supposed to be like a traveler's kind of place, and on the wall encased in glass is a sign for Route 66. And I'm like, Route 66? I go, that's Main Street in our town. And he's like, and the waitress is like, and they speak English. She speaks English not as good as our tour guide. Yeah. And so I pull up on the picture of my phone where we went to El Reno, and there's a picture of me next to a giant, like a 15-foot tall sign of Route 66, and I'm like, this is our town. Like, and they're like, what? And it was so funny because, like, our whole Main Street, there's signs that say Route 66. You could go anywhere and get a Route 66 sticker or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And to see a Route 66 like plaque like under glass, like it's this rare collectible, or you know what I mean? It's just kind of funny. And then our guide said, I had people yesterday who were from St. Louis, and they said they were by Route 66. And I'm like, well, Route 66 does go like the whole country, from California to Chicago, so there's a lot of people that can claim Route 66. But
so anyway, we had delicious tapas. Walked about a block to the most famous cathedral in Spain, a very famous world cathedral. I think it's a World Heritage Site. Mm-hmm. It's called Sagrada Basilica. It's a Catholic cathedral. It was built by a very famous architect named Gaudi, who designed, I think, 7 or 8 other buildings there, but then some buildings in other cities as well. And he's a really different style of architecture, which uses a lot of curves and a lot of stained glass. And so that was like a big deal. Yeah,
it started construction in like the 1700s, and then he said that it was all like nobody would pay for it, so it was like GoFundMe. Like as he would get donations and stuff, they would keep building. So every time they got more money, they would build on it. And then when there was no money, like there's 25 years where there was no money, they just didn't build on it.
Right. So it's still under construction. But this thing is massive. If you've ever been like in St. Peter's Basilica or any of the big, like the National Cathedral or anything like that, you get that feeling of like I'm walking into something immense, right? Only the inside of this one is completely covered in the most beautiful stained glass I've ever seen in my life. Like you can't even explain it.
And he said their official word is that, so the church has been under construction since the 1700s, and officially they say it'll be done next year, but they said the reality is it'll be at least another 10 years. And then the guy's full plan was to have these other towers off to the side, but they've taken that land and they've built like apartments and stuff there. So he's like, really, to finish it, they got to get people out of those apartments and mow all that. And he said, that'll never happen, you know. So, but to go in there is just, even if you're not religious, even if you're not anything, like you go in there and you're like, this is something to see.
Yeah, and if you're a Catholic, it's a very special place where you get special things granted to you, called indulgences. But so let's say that normally people would spend maybe 2 or 3 hours there. We spent about 30 minutes in there. Took pictures, got the heck out because we had stuff to do, right?
Yeah, but there were people like you could hear people like playing the Lord's Prayer on their phone and walking around. So it's very like a highlight for people to go to.
Yeah,
and like
a
respectful kind of place.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Oh man.
Yeah. So anyway, to kind of wrap it up, we go out. Now, as Susan mentioned, there is a marathon around Barcelona, and so they have closed down roads everywhere. So even to get to the places we're supposed to get to, our guy is like, there's only one road, and everywhere he goes, he's like, yeah, I know the guy, like I know the police guy, he's gonna let me through. Like when we go to the restaurant, you know, the lady's like, David, darling, you know, I mean, like he goes to the same places all the time. So he's like, I could get you back to the hotel, but here's the thing, I don't even know that you could get a taxi to this hotel and get back to the cruise ship or whatever. But he says, because I'm an Uber, they don't let me go to the cruise ship. Only taxis can go to the cruise ship. So he says, here's the deal. Now, and we'd already, like, there was a...
We prepaid.
We prepaid, and we'd already tipped him at this point. He says, listen, I'll take you to the hotel. You guys get your luggage. I'll drive you to a taxi stand where the taxis are, and they can get you to the cruise ship. He's like, that's the best thing, you know. So that's what we did. We get our bags. We get to a taxi. It's
like 1 minute away from the cruise ship.
Yeah,
right.
But he can't go there.
Yeah.
So she takes us to the cruise ship. And then I think that's kind of where we'll leave. I mean, I will say this, it was I think possibly the easiest boarding we've ever had of a cruise ship. Like, there was not very crowded, nothing went wrong. They looked at our stuff, they were like, hey, here you go. We bought Cokes. How much were the Cokes and the...
€3.50 or €4.50, I don't know. Yeah. We're paying Carnival prices at this point in time. So we've boarded cruises in Galveston a lot, New Orleans, Jacksonville or Tampa, Seattle, and LA before. And this, hands down, like if this is the experience here, all the rest are way down here. I mean, this was just a perfect experience, and I would definitely say board out of Barcelona if you ever can, because it was just way too easy. Yeah. So now here we are on the ship, and we'll continue this podcast with another part 2 and tell you about some of our port days and a little bit about sea day life, which is a big deal on this 14-day cruise.
We'll have to wait till the cruise is over.
Yeah.
Do part 2, so.
If we make it.
Yeah, so of course, you guys know you can find all my stuff. You can go to podcast.robohara.com to find all my podcasts. You can, if you go to buymeacoffee.com/Big Rob's Van, which is for my van life, if you bought me a coffee, it would not pay for a drink on this thing. No. If you bought 3, I could get 1.5.
Right. So find you on robohara.com. Find me, and all my socials are branded under Legs Like Mine brand.
So I'll put links down there. And also, I am doing updates of the cruise on my Patreon page. And there are all kinds of different levels of Patreon, but I have added a free tier. You could follow my Patreon for free. So if you go to patreon.com/Rob O'Hara, you could just do the free one. And I'm posting videos from the cruise ship and things that we've done there. Now there's like sawing going on and stuff. I don't know what's going on.
They're trying to get that hot tub fixed. We'll tell you about it later. But I guess the other thing I want to share on my socials is I still have the croissant with me. And day by day, I'm eating a little bit of the croissant, and I'm taking funny pictures with it. So if you're interested in following the progress of the croissant, be sure and follow me on especially my Facebook page, which is just Susan O'Hara. So, and it's a public page. So there you go.
All right. So what I'm going to do, are y'all done?
Done.
Are we done? I'm just going to show real quick where we've been sitting, and then we'll cut it off.
And then I'm going to go find a bathroom, because we drank all that Irish coffee while we were having this call. So there you go.
So we are on the Serenity Deck, and as you can see, whoa.
Hey, will you set this on the bar while you're walking around?
No, hold it. Hold it for just a second. I'm going to fall.
Okay, don't fall.
That's wobbly. So here you go. This is where we're at. We're on the Serenity Deck. There's the hot tub. There's the edge. And because you can see, because the waves are blowing and stuff, you can see the water blowing out and stuff like that. Now normally there's seats all the way around the edge, but they don't want anybody out there right now because it's so windy and so rocking that it's kind of a wind danger zone right now. So they are working their butts off to get that hot tub. It has not worked since we've been on the ship, and they'll get it eventually. So, hey, everybody, thanks for watching and listening to You Don't Know Flack, and stay tuned for in another week or so. We'll have part 2 where we'll cover what the entire cruise has been like. Take care, everybody.